Hello, my friends. Did you know that there was a time when ordinary people could not dream of owning a car? Travel was slow. Horses ruled the roads. Most families could only go as far as their feet or their animals could carry them. Some people say, I was one of the greatest builders in history. Others say, my stubbornness cost me more than anyone will ever know. But before I became one of the most powerful industrialists in the world, I was just a poor farm boy who spent his days surrounded by dirt, animals, and hard work. No money, no special education, no powerful friends, only a dream. A dream so strong that it survived failure, rejection, humiliation, and heartbreak. My name is Henry Ford, and this story will help your English while showing you how one belief can change an entire world. If you enjoy learning English through inspiring true stories, please subscribe to the channel and comment, yes, if you are ready to travel back in time with me. I was born on July 30th, 1863, in Greenfield Township, Michigan. At that time, the world was very different. There were no highways, no automobiles, no airplanes, no engines filling the air with noise. Life moved slowly, very slowly. My father, William Ford, was a farmer. My mother, Mary Ford, was kind, intelligent, and full of warmth. Like most boys on a farm, I spent my days feeding animals, carrying water, cutting wood, and helping with chores. But something inside me felt different. Every day, I watched people work with their hands from sunrise until sunset. And every day, I asked myself the same question. Why does everything take so long? Why must people struggle so much? There has to be a better way. Those thoughts stayed with me. They grew stronger as I grew older. Then, one summer afternoon, everything changed. I was about 12 years old when I saw a steam engine for the first time. A steam engine is a machine powered by steam. Today, it may sound ordinary. Back then, it felt like magic. I remember standing there, staring at the machine. It hissed. It rattled. Metal parts moved together perfectly. Power seemed to come from nowhere. For hours, I could not stop watching. Something happened inside me that day. I didn't fully understand it, but I knew my life would never be the same. I whispered to myself, one day, I will understand machines. One day, I will build them. One day, I will create something important. From that moment on, I became obsessed. I collected broken watches. I gathered scrap metal. I searched for old mechanical parts wherever I could find them. Then, I took everything apart, piece by piece, gear by gear. A gear is a wheel with teeth that transfers power from one part of a machine to another. I wanted to understand how every machine thought, moved, and worked. Soon, neighbors began bringing broken watches to me. Can you imagine that? A young farm boy repairing delicate machines while many adults could not. People were surprised. Some even praised me. But my father worried. He wanted me to become a farmer. He believed farming was a stable life, a predictable life, a safe life. Machines, however, were uncertain. Machines could not guarantee a future. At least that was what most people believed. But my heart had already chosen its path. Then tragedy entered my life. When I was 13 years old, my mother died. Even now, it is difficult to describe that pain. She was the person who understood me best. She believed in my curiosity. She encouraged my dreams. When she was gone, I felt completely lost. The farm felt empty. The future felt dark. For a long time, I struggled to find direction. But in that sadness, something else appeared: determination. I wanted to become the man she believed I could become. I wanted to honor her faith in me, and so I kept moving forward. At 16 years old, I made one of the most important decisions of my life. I left the family farm. Many people thought I was making a mistake. Some thought I was foolish. Others believed I would eventually fail and return home. But I could not stay. The world of machines was calling me, and I had to answer. I traveled to Detroit. Compared to my quiet farm, Detroit felt alive. Factories were everywhere. Workshops filled the streets. Machines roared day and night. To me, it felt like stepping into the future. I found work as an apprentice machinist. An apprentice is someone who learns a trade by working under experienced people. The work was hard. The pay was small. The hours were long, but I loved it. Every machine I repaired taught me something new. Every mistake became a lesson. Every day made me stronger. While others rested after work, I continued studying. I read technical books late into the night. I examined blueprints. A blueprint is a detailed technical drawing used to build something. I studied engines. I studied mechanics. I studied anything that could help me understand how machines worked. I had no university education, no professors, no expensive training, only curiosity. And curiosity became my greatest teacher. But then another idea began growing inside my mind. A dangerous idea, a crazy idea. What if a vehicle could move without horses? Today, that question sounds simple. Back then, it sounded ridiculous. People depended on horses for everything: transportation, business, travel, daily life. Most people believed horses would always rule the roads. I disagreed. I believed machines could do more. Machines could move faster. Machines could become stronger. Machines could transform society. The more I thought about it, the more impossible it became to ignore. Years passed. I continued working. I continued learning. Eventually, I joined the Edison Illuminating Company and became an engineer. My career improved. My salary improved. Many people would have been satisfied. I was not, because every night, after work ended, another life began, a secret life. Inside a small workshop behind my house, I bought gears, pipes, bolts, steel parts. Every dollar I could spare went into the project. Night after night, I built. Month after month, I experimented. Year after year, I refused to quit. My hands became covered with oil. My back hurt. My fingers bled. But the dream remained alive. Then finally, after years of effort, I built something extraordinary. A machine that could move without horses. A machine that would become known as the Quadricycle. And that machine was about to change my life forever. We have reached the moment where my dream is finally becoming real. If you're enjoying the story, please leave a like and comment, "Dream," if you believe one idea can change a person's destiny. The year was 1896. For years, I had imagined a machine that could move without horses. Now it stood in front of me. The Quadricycle. It was not beautiful. It had no roof, no doors, no reverse gear, just 4 bicycle wheels, a small engine, and a dream. But there was one problem. The machine was too wide to fit through the workshop door. For a moment, I stared at the wall. Then I grabbed an axe. Wood splintered. Pieces of the wall crashed to the ground. Can you imagine that? I literally destroyed part of my workshop to make room for my future. Finally, The quadricycle rolled outside. I started the engine. The machine shook. The engine coughed. Then it moved forward, slowly at first, then faster. My heart pounded. Years of effort had turned into motion. "It moves," I whispered. "It really moves." That night changed my life forever. But then another important moment arrived. Later that year, I met Thomas Edison. At the time, he was one of the most famous inventors on Earth. I explained my idea. A cheap automobile, a machine for ordinary people. Not just the wealthy, not just the powerful, everyone. Many people laughed at ideas like mine. Edison did not. Instead, he became excited. He encouraged me to continue. His support felt like fuel poured onto a fire. For the first time, I believed that my dream might actually become reality. Soon after, I started my first automobile company. I thought success had finally arrived. I had investors, workers, machines, a factory. Everything looked promising. But appearances can be deceptive. A deceptive situation is one that looks good but hides problems underneath. The cars were expensive. Production was slow. Mistakes happened constantly. Investors became frustrated. Arguments increased. Pressure grew. Then everything collapsed. The company failed. I lost money. I lost credibility. I lost confidence. People mocked me. They said automobiles would never succeed. They said I should return to a normal life. Many people would have quit. I didn't, because failure taught me something important. Failure is information. It tells you what must change. So I returned to work. I studied every mistake. I simplified my designs. I improved my engines. And then I tried again. Here is the surprise. Instead of building a practical car first, I decided to build a racing car. Why? Because speed attracts attention. If I could prove that my machines were powerful, people would start believing. The result was the 999, a massive racing machine filled with raw power. In 1901, it defeated competitors and became famous. Newspapers began talking about me. Investors returned. Opportunity returned. And for the second time, I stood at the edge of possibility. This time, I was ready. In 1903, Ford Motor Company was born. Our resources were small. Our team was small. But our ambition was enormous. From the beginning, I carried one belief inside me. I do not want to build cars for rich people. I want to build cars for ordinary families. That idea guided every decision I made. We built several early models. They sold reasonably well, but I was still dissatisfied. The prices remained too high. Most workers still could not afford them, and that bothered me. Day and night I thought about the problem. How can I make a car that almost anyone can own? Years passed. Then in 1908, the answer arrived. The Model T. This became one of the most important creations of my life. The Model T was strong, reliable, simple to repair, easy to drive, and far more affordable than many competing automobiles. People laughed at its appearance. Some called it Tin Lizzie, but customers didn't care. They wanted freedom. The Model T gave them freedom. Suddenly, farmers could travel farther. Families could visit relatives. Workers could explore opportunities beyond their neighborhoods. America began moving in a completely different way. Orders exploded. Factories struggled to keep up. Demand grew faster than production. That created a new challenge. How could we build enough cars? The answer became my greatest business breakthrough. In 1913, my team and I developed the moving assembly line. An assembly line is a production system where products move from worker to worker as each person performs a specific task. Before this system, building a car could take more than 12 hours. Afterward, it took about 90 minutes. Imagine standing inside the factory. Metal moving, machines humming, workers focused on a single task, cars flowing forward like a river. It was a breathtaking sight. The result was extraordinary. Production increased, costs decreased, prices fell. More people could buy automobiles. And that was exactly what I wanted. I wasn't trying to make cars exclusive. I was trying to make them accessible. An accessible product is something ordinary people can obtain and use. As prices dropped, millions of families gained opportunities they had never imagined. Roads expanded, cities grew, businesses connected, the world became smaller, and Ford Motor Company became one of the most successful companies on earth. But then, success began changing me. My wealth increased beyond anything I had imagined as a child. Factories expanded, influence expanded, power expanded. Some people said I was becoming a genius. Others said I was becoming stubborn. The truth? Perhaps both were correct. I believed strongly in my ideas. Sometimes that helped me. Sometimes it hurt me. One of the most painful examples involved my son, Edsel Ford. Edsel was intelligent, creative, modern. He saw possibilities that I sometimes ignored. He wanted beautiful cars, new designs, fresh ideas. But I often resisted change. I trusted my own judgment more than anyone else's, including his. Looking back, I realize how difficult that must have been for him. Success had taught me how to build, but it had not taught me how to let go. Can you imagine that? A man capable of transforming an industry, yet struggling to trust his own son. That became one of the greatest lessons of my life. Years passed. The world changed. Competitors improved. Customers demanded more choices. Eventually, even I had to accept reality. The era of the Model T was ending. In 1927, production stopped. More than 15 million Model T automobiles had been produced. A world record at the time. An era had ended, but another began. The Model A followed and achieved tremendous success. Yet, behind the achievements, life was becoming more complicated. The business grew larger, responsibilities grew heavier, and my family faced increasing challenges. Then came one of the darkest moments of my life. In 1943, my son Edsel died. He was only 49 years old. No achievement prepared me for that loss. No amount of money could repair it. No success could erase it. For days, I struggled to speak. The grief was overwhelming. A grief is a deep feeling of sorrow after losing someone important. I had spent decades building factories, companies, and systems, but in that moment, none of those things mattered. Only family mattered. Only love mattered. Only time mattered. As I grew older, my health declined. My memory weakened. The world continued moving forward. A younger generation was ready to lead. Eventually, my grandson Henry Ford I stepped forward to guide the company into the future, and for the first time in decades, I began letting go. After retirement, I spent more time at Fair Lane, my estate in Dearborn. The pace of life slowed. I walked through gardens. I reflected on the past. Sometimes I thought about the farm boy who once stared at a steam engine in amazement. Sometimes I thought about my mother. Sometimes I thought about Edsel. And sometimes I simply sat in silence. Then came April 7th, 1947. A storm swept across Michigan. Rain fell heavily. Electricity failed across the area. As darkness covered the night, I sat quietly at home. The world outside was silent. Near midnight, my journey came to an end. I was 83 years old, the boy who dreamed of machines, the young man who refused to quit, the builder who helped put the world on wheels. My life was over, but the ideas lived on. Factories continued working, cars continued moving, families continued traveling, dreamers continued building, and perhaps that is what a legacy truly is. Not what you leave behind, but what continues growing after you are gone. So, what was the real story of Henry Ford? Was it the story of a car? A factory? A company? No, it was the story of belief. A belief strong enough to survive rejection. A belief strong enough to survive failure. A belief strong enough to change the world. I was not perfect. I made mistakes. Some of them were painful. But I never stopped building. And that may be the most important lesson of all, because every great achievement begins as something invisible, a dream, a vision, a possibility. And one day, if you work long enough and believe strongly enough, that possibility becomes reality. Lessons. Lesson 1. Small beginnings can create enormous results. Lesson 2. Failure is not the opposite of success. It is part of success. Lesson 3. Build solutions for people, and people will remember you. Lesson 4. Systems are often more powerful than talent alone. Lesson 5. Success means little if relationships are neglected. Lesson 6. Know when to hold on and when to let go. Lesson 7. The greatest legacy is not wealth. It is impact. If this story inspired you, please subscribe for more powerful English stories based on real lives and real history. And comment below. Which was Henry Ford's greatest achievement? A. Building the Model T, or B. Creating the assembly line? I'd love to hear your opinion.